Hey, Foot Clan, we'll be going to 5 shows a week on August 1st through the end of the year. We're excited. We're ready for a great 2018 fantasy football season. And I just wanted to take a second from Andy, Mike, and Jason we want to say thank you to everybody at jointhefoot.com who has supported this podcast since the very beginning. All of the Foot Clan supporters out there, we invite you. Come and join the community at jointhefoot.com. Get access to a bunch of premium stuff, an extra episode every week, and be a part of this show. We're going to go get some hashtag Foot Clan titles in 2018.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from Draft.com Studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. Always a spectacular honor to be here. Just a joy. I love this show. It's one of my favorites.
I feel like it's been way too long since we've had a mock draft show, gentlemen.
Correct. That is correct.
Yeah, I don't even remember how to do them.
I'll teach you.
What do you do?
Mike and I, we got your back.
Yeah, we have a live mock draft on the show today. 12-team, half-point mock. We're going to try to assemble a winner here on the show, and we'll talk through all of the decisions that we have to make. Just got back from the trip to Dallas, Texas. The live show was a blast.
The NFFC was great.
Which special hello to all the Foot Clan members that we were able to meet, hang out with, get some pictures. It was fantastic.
A rewarding experience getting to talk with all of you that build us into your day. And we don't get to see you until we do an event like this, and you feel like you know us, and then we got to know you. So that was a lot of fun. We have a lot of exciting things that have come out of that event, including interviews with Christian Kirk, Cortland Sutton, Jerick McKinnon, Dede Westbrook,
Melvin
Gordon, Josh Doxson.
Whew.
So those are all. We're going to break those up and put them on some of the shows coming up. We've got a bunch of great episodes leading into our Philadelphia and New York live shows, which, by the way, if you're in Philly or New York,
be there.
You got to come out and see us.
Yeah,
ballerslive.com. Grab tickets while there are still tickets remaining.
Yeah, I was going to say, now is the time to do it. If you're like, oh, yeah, we get so many messages after the Dallas show. It's like, oh, I was 3 hours away. I should have gone, and I regret it. Now's the time. 2 weeks away.
Yeah, and we have very special guests for both shows.
1 week.
What?
Right?
Oh, my gosh, it's next week.
Yeah, we are 1 week away.
I got to go to ballerslive.com right now. Excuse me.
Do you not have a ticket?
I don't have a ticket yet.
Oh, trust me.
Awkward.
We make Jason buy a ticket to get in the building.
No doubt about it. Actually, we just make you, Mike. You're not verified.
Ooh, I like it.
Quick question of the
man
day.
Of the
people. until they make you a man of the Twitter. All right. Quick question. Who is the biggest ranking adjustment lately in your preseason rankings? So the Ultimate Draft Kit, we're always making tweaks and edits. We're always looking at the latest news and information and trends and beat writers and all of that stuff, trying to parse it down and translate that into rankings. I want to know who you guys have been moving lately. Up or down, doesn't matter. Just who's moving around your rankings.
Oh, man, there are a lot of players this week. Once we got back, I took a look at my rankings, top to bottom, every team. Ton of players moving around. The one that I want to bring up that I have moved up a little bit, and at the same time another player down a little bit, is the Miami backfield. Despite all the talk around town about Kalen Ballage, do you like him? Do you not like him?
That's just in here by me.
Sure. I mean, it was at the NFFC.
Oh.
There's fun stuff on Twitter.
Dare I say, Andy has a room at the Bellagio.
Oh, baby.
Yes, I do. That's reason enough to dig in on him.
But look, the first and second in that rotation is going to be Frank Gore and Kenyon Drake. And the more that I've looked at the situation, I was hesitant to give Drake, who I love, credit because of what Miami has done. They signed someone and they drafted someone. But the more that I looked into it, it's like they had to sign someone. And if there's a signing that should not scare me, it's probably Frank Gore at 35.
He does have a motorcycle. We've talked about this, Jason.
That is absolutely true. And Kalen Ballage is a prospect that I don't like that much. So I do think talent will win out. It wasn't a monstrous change, but I moved him kind of above the next tier of guys in my rankings. The Lamar Millers. That tier, I moved him up ahead of them. He was behind them. So I think Kenyon Drake starting to have a little bit more confidence in.
There is a difference, and I want to say this now, between really liking a player, like I do believe that Kalen Ballage's skill set translates to the NFL. There's a difference between liking him, believing that, and projecting him to take the job right out of the gate. I have no illusions of grandeur for Kalen Ballage that he's somehow going to set the world on fire in training camp and Kenyon Drake's going to be shown the door or anything like that. I think if he gets an opportunity, he may take advantage of it, and then you're talking about a timeshare. But I don't think Drake's going to lose the job. And look, Drake could be a miss for me this year. I'm going to openly admit that Drake could be a miss because I don't buy into him translating to a year-long starter, but I see a world where it could happen. So he could be a miss.
Yep, I'll jump in here. Jason mentioned the name I wanted to bring up, and it was Lamar Miller. I went through it like Jason. I made a monstrous amount of tweaks with all the new information that's coming out at the NFFC, talking with a good friend of the show, Brad Evans. He was a part of us on the live show, and just getting other industry guys. They've got ears out there, and they should be taken serious. So I got some good inside information from Evans, from some other people. This wasn't particularly from Evans, but it's the big adjustment I made was I made the switch to Lamar Miller. I was holding out the hope for Deontay Foreman, and I guess just the trying to downplay the red flags of the torn Achilles for Deontay Foreman because I liked Foreman's opportunity coming to the season, but the more and more I dig into it, Jason, you talked about him as a risk-reward player. For me, it's heavy, heavy risk for Deontay Foreman. So I've moved Lamar Miller up. I currently have him at 27, so still out of the top 24. He should probably be higher because when Lamar Miller was the guy with Deshaun Watson, he was definitely
he was a running back one.
Yes, very, very usable fantasy running backs, and I'm going to project him as the starter. I'm projecting Deontay Foreman to start the season on the PUP. That means 6 weeks of Lamar Miller having his chance to put a stranglehold on being not fully featured, but the predominant running back for
when
Houston.
You're drafting him in the 5th round and he starts the first 6 weeks, if that were to happen as the starter, that's a value that you can trade. It's Miller time.
Miller is one of the more annoying concessions that I have to make as a fantasy owner because
I had to make it, man.
Even if Foreman starts the year off the PUP, you're returning from a devastating injury. You're not getting handed the keys to the backfield out of the gate. Lamar Miller may be difficult to watch, but he'll be on the field receiving snaps. And if you are a player that has declining skill set, which I believe Lamar Miller is, and I believe his yards after carry and the whole comparative to Frank Gore number, what better situation do you have? You have nobody behind you except for somebody who's currently injured. For this season, he is annoying.
He had 0 yards after the carry. It was always
what did I say?
Yards after carry. Was it yards after contact that you meant?
That's the direction I was going. His yards after carry were the same as Love Bell's.
Yeah,
right.
That's the truth.
I mean, the Houston Texans, they like Alfred Blue is still there, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, okay.
Shut your mouth. There's no Alfred Blue talk here.
For me, it was. I've made adjustments a couple of times now to Juju Smith-Schuster. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of excitement around Juju. I know somebody personally that loves him.
I do love him.
I know.
And I also moved him down in my rankings.
Yeah, and the thing is James Washington is slotted to start on the outside. There's been a lot of talk from Mike Tomlin and others about James Washington, the amount of excitement he has for him, the same way he had for Juju. James Washington was first or second on my pre-draft board at wide receiver. He's the defending collegiate wide receiver of the year, and he does get to line up opposite of Antonio Brown. He gets the opportunity to take advantage of favorable coverage, and I just think Juju is in a unique position. He burst onto the scene. You had injuries to Antonio Brown. You had opportunity because Martavis Bryant was worked out of the system, and he's 20. I mean, he's 20 years old, and he's walking into fame for the first time. And I'm not going to discount Juju's ability. I think he's great.
Good.
But there are times when you're going to be disappointed in him this year. Maybe he's off the field for a few plays. Maybe it's because Antonio Brown and James Washington are the receivers of choice for a certain week. I just had Juju too high. I had him at 19. I think it's too high.
It's fair. And just to point out, because the talk is James Washington could be starting outside, right? I will say that Pittsburgh, at least under Todd Haley, we assume that the playbook is going to be very similar this season. But just saying again, that was under Todd Haley. But they were one of the most 3 wide receiver heavy teams, 3 or more in the league.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't.
The James Washington on the outside. It's like, okay, what? Martavis Bryant was on the outside last year.
Yeah. Right.
This isn't blowing things up for Juju.
No, not blowing them up, but just another cook, in that second fiddle kitchen.
Too many cooks.
All right. Do you want to follow us on Twitter? It's so easy.
Oh, I already do.
Good. You have a ticket to the show. You follow us on Twitter, Jason.
Doing all the things you guys are saying.
At the FF Ballers on Twitter.
Oh, did you hear what I just signed up for? At FootClanGiveaway.com?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You have a chance to win something?
I can win a Keenan Allen jersey.
A signed Keenan.
I apologize.
Jason.
Signed Keenan Allen jersey. A signed
powder blue.
Stefan Diggs jersey. A signed DeAndre Hopkins mini helmet. And it's completely free, so I entered on my own.
Yes.
I hate to break this to you because there's only 12 days left in this thing. You're actually ineligible.
What?
As one of the hosts of the show, you actually cannot win any of our giveaways.
You went through all
You guys think I put my name in? You're crazy.
Brooks Charmian is what Jason signed up for.
And don't forget you can do FootClanGiveaway.com, enter the contest. You can go to FootClanVote.com and nominate us for the People's Choice.
Yes. Thank you. Foot Clan, we need you. We need you for that 3-peat. Because
go nominate.
Yes.
And go check the box that say you want to be considered as a voter. So after the nomination period.
You only got to do it once.
After the nomination period, which ends at the end of July, they will email a random amount of people to be the final voters on the People's Choice and the Sports and Recreation Podcast Awards for 2018. And if you check that box, you could be one of the ones selected to vote for us. What an honor.
Man.
Let's get into the news.
News and notes from around the league.
Such a treat.
Hey, we love you all.
All right, the Rams have signed wide receiver Brandin Cooks to a 5-year, $80 million extension through 2023. So now he is under contract for 6 years, $88 million. 6 years, $88 million. This extension is longer than Sammy Watkins.
Yep.
But the same amount of money, $16 million a year. And Brandin Cooks is locked and loaded, 24 years old, doesn't turn 25 till September, on a Rams offense that led the league in scoring. We got to like this for the game plan of Brandin Cooks, or no change to you because you kind of already read that into the trade?
Yeah, this was built in for me. You can't give up a first-round pick for a guy on the last year of his contract and not already have plans that you're going to extend him. It's risky business here for the Rams. He's never played a snap for you. You aren't this is purchasing something that you aren't 100% sure that he's going to fit with your team. And for me personally, I don't believe Brandin Cooks is a wide receiver 1 in the NFL. He's being paid like one, so LA's really going to need him to show up as one.
What's funny is his in-game NFL production ends up being wide receiver 1 production.
Yeah.
His fantasy production ends up being fantasy wide receiver 1 production, and yet his on-the-field impact may actually not be wide receiver 1 impact.
Yeah.
But for fantasy, it doesn't matter.
Like we've said, he's only played football with first ballot Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and we have seen.
But Mike,
yes,
Jared Goff's the next big thing.
Thank you, voice of public opinion, and certainly he may be, but we have seen many wide receivers have their careers created by Hall of Fame level quarterbacks, only to see them go to another team, get a lot of money, and disappoint a lot of people.
That's my king. Don't talk like that.
The reality for Brandin Cooks
Is Godfrey the king of the public?
He's my king.
That's funny. The reality with Brandin Cooks is that because of this offense, because of the fact that we saw success, look at Philadelphia last year. They spread the ball around. They had different weapons all year long. They won a Super Bowl. The Rams are going to spread the ball around. Robert Woods is involved. Cooper Kupp's involved. Todd Gurley's involved. Gerald Everett's going to be involved.
Hopefully.
Cooks will need, I think the end-of-year production will be there. But Cooks is going to need to catch that ball when it's the deep. He's not going to have the targets that you necessarily want. He still may put up 1,100 yards on 65 catches. But that's the thing, is it's going to be, he has to take advantage of his shot, and they believe he can. That's why they paid him all this money.
I'm trying to recall where I saw it on Twitter, so if I'm sourcing it incorrectly, I think it was Graham Barfield. I think he had thrown out just a comment joke of how, okay, Brandin Cooks and his 7 targets a game are worth $80 million, and Le'Veon Bell, who touches the ball 25-plus times a game, it's just funny how and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just funny how things work out in the NFL. Mothers, do not let your children become running backs.
That is good
Please.
advice.
That's another monstrous piece of news. We haven't talked about it, but the Pittsburgh Steelers did not agree to a long-term deal with Le'Veon Bell. He does expect to report. Do you expect him to report? Do you adjust him in your rankings at all? Because he's probably not going to be a Steeler after this season.
Yeah, I know you adjusted him, Andy, in your rankings. I did not adjust him whatsoever. This was what the expectation, similar to what you were saying, Mike, about Cooks. This was the expectation from the get-go. They franchised him a while ago. I never thought they would get a long-term contract done. And when they franchised him, it wasn't like it was breaking news that he was going to sit out of camp and sit out of, he's coming September 1st, just like he did last season. And last season he was just fine. So maybe you could say he gets off to a slow start, or possibly because he misses. Is there an elevated injury risk? But
yeah, certainly could be.
With those, I did not adjust Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, I have Le'Veon Bell playing the 16. It was an interesting news day because Adam Schefter reported and essentially set an earthquake to the foundation of fantasy football. Uh-oh, Le'Veon Bell's ready to sit out games if he doesn't get the deal. Didn't get the deal. But then there was later, Lev is inferring he's going to play all 16 games. I think he will. The Pittsburgh Steelers have there's nothing holding them back now from guaranteeing that Le'Veon Bell gets 400-plus touches. I'm with Andy. I don't think he's a Steeler next year. And if they want to say we're going to get the maximum out of Le'Veon Bell, we're just going to let him carry us, that's business-wise, it's a good move.
Yeah. I adjusted him because I didn't think that the difference between, Gurley,
factoring in more, there's more risk.
There's slightly more risk, both to injury and to potential holdout. Because who knows? Maybe he sends a message. He probably doesn't want to hurt his future contract. But I just made a small tweak, and I actually, I have him behind Gurley, behind David Johnson,
and that's fine because you would still take him in your top 5.
Yes,
correct.
And we're gonna see where he goes today. Because we're doing a 12-team half-point mock draft momentarily. Other quick news, Shane Vereen to the Saints. Is that important to you, Mike?
Not really, because he's the backup pass catcher. Now, we had talked in studio, Andy. You brought up the name of, if they had brought back Travaris Cadet, this would impact nothing. It's for those first 4 games, who's going to be the complement to Alvin Kamara, not the guy who can kind of replicate his skill set.
Doug Peterson says he can't say if Carson Wentz will be ready for week 1. He says it's not a Doug Peterson decision, it's a doctor's decision. So Wentz has been performing 7-on-7 drills during OTAs. Any further concern than you already had because of this report or no?
No, I mean, this was, again, if you've been listening in the offseason, that's the expectation, is hopes to be ready week 1. That's part of why he's a little bit lower already in our rankings.
Yeah, for me, it's status quo here. I don't let myself get carried away because the big thing for ACL repair guys, he's out there doing drills without a knee brace. Playing 7-on-7, doing drills for your team is a lot different than facing 11 giant human beings who want nothing more than to destroy you. It's a lot different.
Kenneth Dixon not going to be on PUP to start the year. Alex Collins.
Yeah, that's good news for Kenneth Dixon.
He'll at least have a backup.
Sure.
Kenneth Dixon.
Hey, before we get into the mock draft, want to remind everybody about the Ultimate Draft Kit. This is our passion project. This is what we spend January through May building out. It's the one tool you need to dominate your fantasy football drafts.
Still building.
Still, of course.
Still upgrading.
It's not a magazine. This is a digital product that I just updated a whole bunch of rankings. Jason and Andy are doing the same thing. As soon as news breaks, we update things. Of course, sleepers, breakouts, busts, all of those things are there. Exclusive access to information from Matt Harmon's Reception Perception. Check it out, ultimatedraftkit.com. And now's the time to get in so you can dig into that information and have fun with it all off season.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, because that Ultimate Draft Kit is going to bring you some hashtag Foot Clan titles this year, make sure you know where to get it, which is Fantasy Champs. If you're a Fantasy Champ, go to fantasychamps.com. Look, they have the best trophies. You want high quality? You don't want this trophy showing up just,
right,
wrapped in some tissue with some packing peanuts in there. If you're looking for a high quality trophy for your league, which is awesome, then Fantasy Champs is where you need to go. They are priced great, but the quality is unbelievable.
And they have custom fantasy football jerseys. We met a certain fella
who
came to the live show rocking a Fantasy Champs custom-made football jersey. He was a
very custom.
Very, very custom. He was an incredible guy, great story, and seeing him sporting this thing, letting everyone know that he's a champion. I mean, he was doing it right.
Yeah, so go to fantasychamps.com. Use the promo code BALLERS to save 10%.
All right, guys, let's do it.
The Fantasy Footballers Mock Draft.
Yeah, buddy. All right. I did a random selection of our draft position. 12-team, half point.
I would have
Per
preferred
reception, mock draft.
you randomed those top 5 picks.
Sorry.
Are we in there?
We are not. We're in
No.
number 7, and we're kicking it off right now. We're drafting as one team.
7 is usually just about my least favorite spot.
Well, good.
It's better than the back turn. And we're going to get the question a lot more, and it's fine. Don't mind answering it. But for everyone listening, my favorite draft spot right now is the 104.
All right, we're drafting from the 7 spot here on Sleeperbot on their draft boards. We've been using Sleeperbot as the official mock draft partner of the Fantasy Footballers all off season. I can see in there now they have made more upgrades to their mock draft. You now have a roster and a chat tab on the right-hand side. You can pause the draft. You can undo draft errors in real time. You can take a look at keepers and set them in advance. This is the premium best way to mock draft, and you can invite your friends in, and you can check it out on the YouTube channel if you want a visual idea of what's going on. Todd Gurley went number 1. David Johnson, number 2. Lev Bell, 3. Interesting that Lev went behind those 2 guys in this draft. Ezekiel Elliott, 4. 4 stalwarts at the top. Antonio Brown, number 5. Alvin Kamara, number 6. Gentlemen, we have a decision to make because we are staring down the likes of Saquon Barkley, DeAndre Hopkins, Leonard Fournette, Melvin Gordon, and Odell Beckham Jr. What do we want to do in this draft, boys?
Well, go ahead, Jay.
I was going to say that is why I don't like the 7, because there are 6 guys I am super happy to get. Now, everyone that's on the board here, still a great player, but I really feel like there is a tier break there.
Let me bring something up.
Sure.
Let me ask this question to you, Jason. Because we know and like some of these rookies later in the draft, maybe it's a Rashad Penny or a Sony Michel, somebody that we believe in, Royce Freeman, does it give you any hesitancy in the first round to go Saquon Barkley, knowing value is there for rookies that haven't proven themselves later?
It doesn't give me any hesitancy. I am still here at the 107 taking a running back personally over a wide receiver. Even though Odell Beckham, DeAndre Hopkins are here, I would prefer to take Saquon Barkley because that volume is going to be there. He's going to have...
Really? Barkley's your pick over the other fella who's there?
Are you talking about Leonard Fournette?
No.
You're talking about Melvin Gordon.
I'm talking about Melvin Gordon, who I shook his hand. I almost crumpled into a liquefied mess because he is a superhero of a human being. was shocking to see him. And
Melvin.
That was really funny. Funny story. A quick detour. Just the fact that I had interviewed Ronald Jones II earlier in the day.
Yeah.
And we looked at him, and he's built, right? Like, but
Right.
he's like
sturdy.
as built as you can get at about, what is he, 5'11"?
Yeah.
And 6
I
foot,
think he's
6 feet
5'11",
tall.
yeah.
And so you guys had been at one of the players' lounges.
We were in the player lounge with the players waiting to interview Melvin Gordon, and they're like, oh, he's right over there. Let him eat, and then we'll talk to him. And so his back was to us, and I just thought to myself, I go, look, I'm surprised that there's not a huge difference between Ronald Jones.
Because Ronald Jones is 205, which
that's a knock on him, right?
Yeah.
That part of the reason I say, I don't like Ronald Jones is because I don't think his frame's going to hold up. But then I was looking, I was like, there's not that big a difference here. And then a second later,
it wasn't
like,
Melvin Gordon.
Mike's like, no, that's Melvin Gordon sitting right next to him. And Melvin got up, and the superhero was like, oh, okay, Ronald Jones is going to get crushed.
Melvin's my vote here.
My vote too.
Easily.
I'm absolutely. Honestly, I said Saquon mostly because you've always been the anti-Melvin guy.
Yeah, look, my eyes have been opened and accepting of the fantasy points that Melvin Gordon produces. And you're talking him versus Saquon, it's very close. They're both what I think are the last remaining true 3-down guys. One of them's on a great team that I've projected.
They could make some.
I've
noise.
projected for a Super Bowl run. The other team I have projected for.
So mad at you guys.
What?
All three of us, independent of one another, have projected the Chargers.
Are you serious?
Months ago, the Chargers were my Saints of this year.
Yeah, and then
now we're fighting. Now I feel like you're Zach Ertzing me on the show here.
Hey,
but listen, Melvin, no question did I receive more, especially in Dallas, then why do you have Melvin Gordon ahead of Ezekiel Elliott?
I can't buy.
I know you guys don't buy it.
Correct.
But the same reasoning exists between the Barkley-Gordon decision. It is about the team. I believe they'll be in the red zone more often. I believe they'll be scoring more. There'll be more scoring opportunities.
Right.
I believe they're a better team than Dallas is. I know that Zeke is Dallas. So he'll be there. The production will be there. He'll have monster games. I just wanted to go with the guy in the better team.
And I understand that. I would still go Zeke if he was there. But back to if Gordon versus Saquon, it's a team situation. So I like Melvin Gordon more than Barkley.
All right, Melvin Gordon is the pick. After Gordon went Fournette, Barkley, Hopkins, Beckham, and then Kareem Hunt rounding out the first round. Julio Jones opens the second round. Dalvin Cook, Jerick McKinnon, Michael Thomas,
Ooh.
and Keenan Allen both look like valuable picks. I feel like the last time we mock drafted, we just missed out on Keenan in the second round as well. And now we're on the clock.
My life.
We're on the clock, and we have the opportunity to.
If Keenan had made it to us, that would have been my pick. But I feel like there's a break between him and Devontae Adams.
Now, Brooks, you just traded for Keenan Allen in our Dynasty League. You gave up A.J. Green plus to get him. Is that pro-Allen or anti-Green?
Both.
Okay.
For Dynasty.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a savvy move, Brooks. I thought it was savvy.
You know what
because
else is
there's a 20% chance that I have that what we saw from A.J. Green last year was indicative of the future for him, and he'll be dropping a tier this year. I still love him. He looks like a value in drafts because, look, he's not even off the board here, 6th pick of the second round. But there's a 20% chance that he's not the same player.
Another savvy move from Brooks was hanging the Keenan Allen signed jersey on the wall. He trades for him, and he goes up on the wall. Well done, Brooks.
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence. All right, so guys, you said if Keenan Allen was here, you would have taken him. But now you look at options at the running back position. You know, you can go with a guy like Devonta Freeman. He stands out to me as, hey, let's put Freeman and Gordon together, see what we can do, rather than going with guys that I think are similarly tiered and available, A.J. Green, Mike Evans.
Thielen?
Is
Thielen there for you? Same tier?
Yeah, I mean, so Devontae Adams is still there. It makes me want to go running back because I feel like Freeman and McCaffrey are options here.
I agree completely. Devonta Freeman would be my pick. I think if you can put a Melvin Gordon and Devonta Freeman, both guys on good offenses who catch the ball, who are goal line backs, you're getting a workhorse situation. And, yes, you're sacrificing a little bit with the wide receiver, but you run out of running backs early in these drafts, and you can get wide receivers late that are still going to be productive, have good weeks. You're not streaming running backs ever off the wire, so I would go Freeman.
It comes down to 3 players for me: Devonta Freeman, Devontae Adams, or a guy who's like
And Devonta Foreman.
No, he's going to say Gronk.
Gronk.
Right.
I want Gronk on my team this year.
If we were later in the second, near that third pick, I would believe we could get like a Jordan Howard maybe
on the way back.
But as it stands now, I think we're a little too early for Gronk.
All right,
Gronk is 4 picks earlier than his ADP if you take him here. As of right now on Sleeperbot.
But if you don't pick him here, you will.
Right.
You're not
I
getting
completely
it.
agree. I have McCaffrey slightly higher than Freeman. Jason wants Freeman. Mike, you want to decide between those two gentlemen?
Between Freeman and McCaffrey?
Correct.
That's Freeman easy for me.
All right, Devonta Freeman off the board. A.J. Green follows up. Devontae Adams is gone. Joe Mixon, Jordan Howard, and Rob
There's
Gronkowski
Gronk.
drops all the way to the second to last pick of the second round. Mike Evans, and then Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers nestles in at 301 nowadays.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Doug Baldwin, Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey, real close to coming all the way back, but doesn't do it. LaShawn McCoy at 305 with the inherent risk of not knowing what's going on with LaShawn
Right.
McCoy. I haven't really moved him yet. Josh Gordon at 306, and we're back on the clock. We have Melvin Gordon, Devonta Freeman, and we are assembling now a number of choices. We have Kelsey still on the board.
So we bet on the wide receiver. I feel like we took a bet on the wide receiver tier.
Yes.
Of course, Kelsey and Ertz are
6
here.
of them went off after we took him.
But remaining, highest in the ADP currently, T.Y. Hilton, but Adam Thielen's
Adam
there.
Thielen.
Stephon Diggs is there. Amari Cooper is there. So
Larry Fitzgerald.
So there are still this tier of wide receivers in the third round. I think we made the right call.
Yeah,
And
if you did
Freeman.
it the
worked
other
out.
way, we would have taken A.J. Green, let's say, or Devontae Adams, and then we would be drafting someone like a Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry, maybe he's going to be good, but we have to project that forward. Or guys, maybe they'll be good. Whereas Freeman, you're getting a known commodity and then you follow it up with a known commodity at wide receiver. So I love this. I would personally take Adam Thielen. I'm a huge full believer in Thielen. I'm hooked.
Adam Thielen is the pick. I agree with you both. I'm not going to jump out a tight end or anything there.
Now,
want Gronk off the board.
Can I point something out? I'm
sorry, we're out of time.
Oh, man.
No, go ahead.
I'll see you at the live show in Philly.
Yeah, just please walk off set.
With your ticket.
Yes, in hand.
You can't keep me out.
So I said this early in the offseason when these guys were several rounds apart, and I said, come draft season, these guys are going to be basically back-to-back, and 2 picks after we take Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs was drafted. It happened last year as well, the same exact trend, and I want it known that Adam Thielen is the better pick. I mean, by 2 miles.
You believe that the gap is as large as Mike's pants from last year and Mike's pants from this year.
Yes, exactly. He's lost a lot of weight doing good on that keto life.
I am loving that comparison.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But, I mean, we talked early off season.
Did you take care of that bee sting?
Yeah, from last year.
Early off season, Andy, in the studio, I talked about I feel like I want Adam Thielen to be one of my guys this year. But he was a mid-second round guy, and
I feel that way about Gronk.
Sure, and so it's tough. But now he's dropping to the third, and I feel like he continues to drop.
So Thielen and Diggs go 2 picks apart. After Thielen went Derrick Henry, someone who we talked about on the live show in Dallas, Stephon Diggs, and now, gentlemen, I think you noticed this. The rookies are starting to rise.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Rashad Penny at 310. Travis Kelce, Zach Ertz finish out the third round. T.Y. Hilton, Jay Ajayi, and then Darius Geis, another rookie running back, Amari Cooper, Juju Smith-Schuster, who we just talked about. Look, it would have been a tough decision for me at 406 between a player with upside like Amari Cooper and a stalwart like Larry Fitzgerald.
Me too.
I think suddenly with Cooper off the board and Fitzgerald being my 4th-round favorite of late, now we did get another review on iTunes, okay? That said,
Apple Podcast.
On Apple Podcast, they said, hey, look, I love these guys, but they're just too high on Gary Fitzgerald.
Gary?
Gary Fitzgerald. We're too high on Gary Fitzgerald.
Oh, they typoed?
They wrote Gary Fitzgerald, Mike.
Well,
And I don't recommend drafting Gary Fitzgerald.
No,
I don't think I'm
would
high on
not.
him at all.
Other options here, just for context, Deshaun Watson typically goes around this range. Alex Collins, Larry Fitzgerald, Kenyon Drake, Sony Michel. I want Larry Fitzgerald.
Larry Fitzgerald is in my top 10 at wide receivers, and you know what? I apologize for nothing.
Jason, would you
loving
mind?
Larry. Here,
Mike, grab the glasses.
what do I actually need hate blockers for Larry?
Apparently, we do.
No, I don't think I do. I don't think I do because here's the average. This is what Larry is averaging.
Please.
The last 3 seasons, that would be 108 receptions, over 1,100 yards, and 7 touchdowns, averaging over 3 years.
Yeah, getting him in the 4th round.
And watching him play, he's not done.
No, he's a technician. I mean,
Yes.
he when you have a guy.
Don't sweat the technique.
Look, Jerry Rice played, into his 40s, and he was always better than the defensive backs because he was a technician. Larry is that type of player. Early in his career, maybe he'd go up and out-muscle a guy, out-high-point a guy, do those things. But Larry is going to be absolutely fine.
Do you know what I like?
He's the auto pick here in the 4th round when we started running back.
Right.
You start running back, and then we get to follow that up with 142 targets to Adam Thielen and 161 targets to Larry Fitzgerald.
Yes, I accept.
The math adds up to over 300 targets for the 3rd and 4th pick in the draft.
Hold on. Yep. Math checks out.
This is the current current favorite mock that we've had so far this offseason, just because of how it's flowed. Gordon, Freeman, Thielen, Fitzgerald. After Fitz, Deshaun went 3 picks later. Kenyon Drake, Alshon Jeffrey, Sony Michel, Ronald Jones, another rookie.
Creeping
at the top
up
of
in
the
the
5th, creeping up. Allen Robinson.
Let
That
your
seems like a
friends-
pretty interesting spot for Allen Robinson.
That's fair value.
Larry Miller. Yeah. Lamar Miller. I've got Gary and Larry in my head. Jarvis Landry, Mark Ingram, Brandin Cooks.
Trying to sell some cars?
I might have tried to sell you guys on Brandin Cooks here in the 5th round.
Oh, you would have failed.
Yeah, that's going to be outvoted 2 to 1.
Why don't you guys break down the choices here
Go
at
ahead,
507 with our beautiful team? Can we end
All
the
right.
draft? Brooks, can we end it
let's just
early
end it here.
and just start these 4?
Okay, at quarterback, it doesn't matter who's on the board.
Thank you.
Because there are quality running backs and wide receivers. Make sure you use that strategy or draft. At tight end, it also doesn't matter because Rob Gronkowski, Travis Kelce, and Zach Ertz are off the board. So we're looking at wide receiver and running back. At wide receiver, you have more stalwart guys like your Golden Tate, or you've got high upside guys like Chris Hogan, Marvin Jones, Sammy Watkins. And then at running back, you've got some, Royce Freeman is a guy who I project to be the lead dog. If he ends up as the lead dog, he's a great value in the 5th, but there's no certainty. Maybe Devontae Booker turns into knowing how to be a good running back and surprises us all. Also, I love Dion Lewis at this spot in a half-point PPR to go several rounds behind Derrick Henry, who went 308.
There's actually nobody that is leaping off the page to me.
The
And
leap off
because
is
of
for
that,
me.
Who is it?
The leap off is Jason alluded to Devontae Booker, and the only way that he's taken Royce Freeman's job is if he is actually a
Did you say
succubus.
he's taking Royce Freeman's job?
I said the only way.
But Royce Freeman's job is currently the backup to Devontae Booker.
The only way, I'm talking about the beginning of the season.
Correct.
The only way that Devontae Booker is the starter is if he is actually a succubus and can steal the soul and all the power from Royce Freeman.
You are predicting not only that Royce Freeman will emerge,
Yes.
but he will emerge as the starter
He will
to begin the
emerge
season.
victorious. I would take Royce Freeman if this was
Do you believe that too,
my pick.
Jason?
I do believe that he will emerge victorious.
There is too much risk right here for me
Okay, so
to
what would
invest
you?
in. I would draft Greg Olsen.
I will.
A perennial top 5 tight end. You've skipped around. No tight ends have gotten off the board. He's still in the tier with Kelce and Hurts to me. And you're at 507. You can get an elite tight end that's finished inside the top 3 before. Cam Newton's number 1 weapon. I would go Greg Olsen here.
Yeah, I feel
Over
like
the risk of Royce Freeman, you get a guaranteed start of Royce Freeman right now. There's a chance you can't flex Royce Freeman through the first 3 or 4 or 5 weeks.
I
And that's
accept.
not even the worst case scenario.
I accept it, despite my hyperbolic statements.
The only reason that I would perhaps not draft Royce Freeman is my love of Kerryon Johnson, who I think is just as
But
good.
this is way too early.
It is. That's
I have
my
the
point.
same mindset with Kerryon that I would have with Royce Freeman.
My
Yes.
point
Only it's worse with
is this
Kerryon.
is way too early for Kerryon. He will actually get back to us next round. His average draft position is usually the 7th. So I feel we could get a Royce Freeman type talent later in the draft is my point. So
But,
I would be okay.
The difference between the two guys for me is Royce Freeman has an opportunity to start week 1. I do not see a world besides injury where Kerryon Johnson is starting.
You don't have
minimum
to
4 weeks.
You don't have to speculate though about Greg Olsen. There's no speculation.
There's just the health
there's
of
a
the foot.
chance you're not start. You want to draft your flex in the 6th round?
All right, here's what I would. My pick would be Marvin Jones. So ironically, you would take Royce Freeman. I would take Marvin Jones.
I would take
Andy
Marvin.
Marvin Jones is fine.
I would take him over Greg Olsen for sure.
All right, Marvin Jones then. We've settled on none of them.
All right.
If you can't have it, I can't have it. Marvin Jones. That's how Marvin Jones gets drafted, by the way.
Hey, I've got
Poor Marvin. Nobody targets Marvin Jones.
Yeah, I got some news for
got
you.
great news.
Royce Freeman come back around?
Nope.
No, he did
Greg
not.
Olsen?
But Greg Olsen did, and I was going to say in this mock world, I don't usually take a 5th or 6th round tight end. I think there's good quality players there. Greg Olsen's usually gone. In the 6th round, doing a mock, if Greg Olsen is there, I think we should take him. See how our team turns out. That's
Royce Freeman went at 5'11", then Brady, Wentz, and Breeze, a quarterback run at 5'12", 6'2", and 6'05". And you know why those quarterbacks went? So that we could draft Greg
if
Olsen.
we could take.
Are you
Greg
feeling more
Olsen-
comfortable with Greg Olsen here, Mike?
I'm more comfortable in this round
Over Evan Ingram,
knowing
Kyle
that-
Rudolph?
knowing that we have 2 and 3.
Okay, if
But
we
we
take
gotta
Greg
come back with
Olsen
the running back
and
after this.
Kerryon Johnson gets back to us, this is the greatest. Just everything happening perfectly.
I have accepted. I've come to terms with our team is drafting Greg Olsen here. I just want to know.
Come on, Kerryon, get back, get back.
I would not take Greg Olsen right
Marlon
here.
Mack with Kerryon still there. Come on, no, no, 2 picks in.
We missed out on Kerryon, if you didn't notice out there, listeners.
That
Evan
was intense in my heart.
Look, I like it. Greg Olsen, immediately followed by Evan Ingram and then Kyle Rudolph. Davis and Fuller went in that round. Wild cards, Wilson, Tariq Cohen, Lynch, Mack, Edelman, Coleman, Kerryon Johnson. Here we are, Cam Newton, and we're on the clock. I think we need to be looking hard at the running back position, getting best value at that position. Right now, there is Carlos Hyde. There is Isaiah Crowell, a starter. C.J. Anderson, a player that I think
love him.
is undervalued.
Completely agree.
You could choose your favorite Green Bay running back, Aaron Jones, Ty Montgomery, or Jamal Williams.
All of those are true, but I don't think there's a huge tier break between a lot of those guys. Like, if you told me you wanted Carlos Hyde or Isaiah Crowell, I see them in similar-ish situations.
So where are you leaning right now then?
Well, I mean, I'm leaning that maybe taking Royce Freeman was the right pick a little bit earlier. That's kind of how it feels, or carry on instead of Greg Olsen. But because we went to the 7th round now before grabbing our 3rd running back,
we're feeling the pinch of having a higher rated tight end. No doubt. No doubt.
Would we rather draft a safe, player like Emmanuel Sanders or Pierre Garçon or someone, that's gotten it done before, and then try to get whoever's left in that tier, or do we just take our favorite running back? Both are.
Well, if it were my team alone, I would be looking at established starting running backs right now, which would be Isaiah Crowell. C.J. Anderson would be in consideration because his opportunity is going to be there, or taking a chance on one of the Green Bay running backs. What I don't want to do with this pick is waste an opportunity to get somebody that could step up. I'd rather go with some unknown built in like Isaiah Crowell.
And for me, if I was making the pick, we have 2 stud running backs.
Yes.
I don't want the plotter
Crowell.
of Crowell. I would reach for the stars and take an upside guy here.
Aaron Jones?
I would take Rex Burkhead.
That was the player that I was thinking. I did a Fantasy Pros expert mock. I reached for Rex Burkhead. If he ends up the goal line guy,
I do. And sorry, to be fair, my rankings, I have Crowell, one spot ahead of Burkhead.
Well, yeah. So you make
it's
a
team management situation. I would rather have Burkhead, who, Jason, I interrupted you. I apologize, but you were saying reports are when they get in the 20, that could be Rex Burkhead's job. And if that's all he's getting, if he's getting 10 to 15 touches, but he's getting all work inside the 20, then Rex Burkhead will still be a low-end running back too.
I think it's very important to take a running back here. I think it is. And I'm okay with Burkhead.
All right.
I think that's a good pick. I think that Rex Burkhead will have opportunity this year, and I'm fine with it. Carlos Hyde goes next, Delaney Walker, Devin Funchess, Jordy Nelson, Chris Thompson, and then Jamal Williams, the first Green Bay running back off the board, Emmanuel Sanders, Isaiah Crowell, Nick Chubb, Robert Woods, and we're back on the clock. Still have an opportunity, if we want, to draft not Isaiah Crowell, but C.J. Anderson or Aaron Jones. We have opportunities
Ty
at
Montgomery,
wide
the right Green Bay running back.
We have Pierre Garcon, Randall Cobb, Jamison Crowder. My pick by far right here would be Robbie Anderson, a player that I believe has top 24, top 20 talent, the number one on that team, a team that Maurice Jones-Drew seems to think can go 11-5.
Oh, you have to have seen this. Look, Foot Clan.
we need to mention it.
It's unbelievable.
It has to be mentioned.
There's a network that has MJD going through the wins and losses and has the Jets 11-5. I am Jet Nation. We're coming to visit you. We love you all, but you got to know your team's not going 11-5. I know that my Arizona Cardinals are not going 11-5.
I tried to be generous with his win-loss and walk through the schedule, and I saw 5-6 wins was the peak that I saw. MJD had them winning on the road against Jacksonville. He had them winning on the road against at home against New England. I didn't see it. But it doesn't matter.
Sorry,
it doesn't matter.
Sorry.
Look, opinions are opinions.
Yeah,
I was a shocking opinion. That's all I'm saying.
Not my tempo.
All right, if I was on the clock here, I would without a shadow of a doubt take Ty Montgomery. That's not even close. If I've already got 3 running backs and running backs are spare, same kind of roster construction, we've got 3 solid wide receivers. But I also think Ty Montgomery has a legitimate shot of coming to us back in the next round. Robbie Anderson, I would be fine taking him and hoping to get Ty Montgomery.
I think either will come back to us in the next round, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
so if we want to play the gamble, let's just play the gamble of
if I were making the pick, I would gamble for Anderson or Montgomery coming back. I would mostly for Montgomery coming back because I just don't want him on my team.
So let's gamble because I don't want him either.
I would take C.J. Anderson and try and get Robbie Anderson on the way back. We got the upside running
Mike,
back
it's your
right
pick.
before.
It's your pick.
I would take C.J. Anderson.
All right. I don't mind doubling down on another running back option there, especially Burkhead, whose role's less defined than Anderson's is.
Right. I
like it.
It's the sandwich, right?
Yeah.
We got the frosting for the sandwich. I don't know why.
Now this sounds like a good sandwich.
Is Rex Burkhead the frosting on the sandwich, Mike? Is that the analogy we're going with?
This is delicious.
Well, you didn't let me finish because it's a peanut butter banana sandwich that has frosting on it.
It's a cake.
Sounds great.
It's a
very
cake.
similar
for
to
all
a
intents.
cake. It's not a dirty cake.
No.
It's just a regular cake. C.J. Anderson. Now, see, we took him.
Oh.
We saw 3 more quarterbacks go off the board. Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Matthew Stafford. You can follow us on YouTube and see every pick from this entire draft.
Oh.
We've still got our Robbie Anderson on the board. He'd by far and away, especially now that we've taken another running back, I would love Robbie Anderson here. I think it's incredible 9th-round value. And because I'm the host and holding the button, I'm going to make the pick.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fine. I think Robbie Anderson is the right pick here because we made a mistake and did not take Ty Montgomery. But I agree wholeheartedly that Robbie Anderson in the 9th round, that is a very good value. His upside is there as the number 1 for McCown.
Also, Pierre Garcon went off the board, so I don't have to fight you for Garcon.
Highlights of the next picks between our Robbie Anderson pick and the 10th round, Corey Clement, right where he has been going, 10th round.
Sure.
DJ Moore, 10-02, interesting pick. Ty Montgomery, 9-11. Like, I like Ty Montgomery, Jason, but your love of him, it's causing me to just pull away. You love him so much that it's like a magnet that you flipped over, and now I'm getting pushed away from.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't even come close to him because it's too expensive.
You need to understand my Tom Montgomery love is not something where I am sitting here saying I have to have him on my team. You at home need to reach for him. I'm saying that when you already have 3 running backs and they're solid, and you want to take a reach and you want to take that flyer, kind of like what we thought about doing with Rex Burkhead, is that passing targets are worth more than rushing attempts. There is zero doubt to me who the passing downs running back is for Green Bay. It's going to be Ty Montgomery. I want a piece of the Green Bay backfield that is always, on a per-game basis, so productive. So if you already have the ability to take that shot, and we were talking 8th, 9th round here. We're not talking about – I'm not saying, hey, when you get to the top of the 6th.
Would you have taken him? No, your points are always well-crafted, and I don't disagree with the logic. A PPR league, it would have hit me harder. Would you have taken Ty Montgomery at 907 over Robbie Anderson if you were alone?
No,
in a room drafting.
No, because we took C.J. Anderson at 806.
But in a vacuum,
I would have taken.
Still would have taken.
I would have taken Ty Montgomery ahead of Robbie Anderson if it was not team construction dependent.
All right, we are sitting here. We have 2 more bench spots. We need a quarterback as well. Mike, I'm sorry, Jason. Why don't you make this next pick since I?
So I'm going to make this one for you two. To me, there's 3 quarterbacks I still love, which is Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, and Marcus Mariota. I really like all 3 of those guys. But I know that the Ben Roethlisberger, Marcus Mariota, that's more me than us. So I'm going to say let's grab Phillip Rivers. We all believe in him. Stack those passing touchdowns to Melvin Gordon. I think that's a great value.
That was my pick.
I actually think it's a tier gap. I mean, it's a tier gap between Phillip Rivers and picking up Big Ben or Mariota, at least by my estimation. I like it. I like it. Big Ben and Patrick Mahomes actually went after Phillip Rivers. We also saw LeGarrette Blount, Chris Carson. We're back on the clock. A few picks left. Mike, I'm going to toss it over to you. Lay out a couple options and make a pick.
So we currently are sitting with 4 running backs, 3 wide receivers.
We actually have 4 wideouts. I don't know why it says that.
Oh, we
Thielen,
do?
Fitzgerald, Jones, and Robbie Anderson.
Because they've got him filled in as the flex play.
That is correct. Melvin Gordon, Devonta Freeman, Rex Burkhead, C.J. Anderson. We're very balanced. We're a beautiful, balanced team.
We are definitely a beautiful, beautiful, balanced team. We're in the mostly dart throw sleeper territory.
Somebody you want to see make an impact in the first few weeks.
I want Jason
to pick, but I just want you to remember that I took Phillip Rivers. I would have personally taken Ben Roethlisberger.
I am not taking who I think that you think that I think that I'm going to be selecting.
Good, because I think it would disgust me.
Yeah. What do you want?
So we're going with upside wide receivers. Just to review. Adam Thielen, Larry Fitz, Marvin Jones, Robbie Anderson. So we have at least 3 locked-in guys, and then Robbie Anderson, who's the flyer with a ton of upside. I'm trying to decide, do I want to go with someone who I think is kind of that safer late round value guy in Rashard Matthews, who is serviceable. Sure, we know the ceiling is capped, but he's definitely a serviceable, startable wide receiver. Or do you go really, really high upside with someone like Geronimo Allison, Jordan Matthews, who the press continues to be positive about him, and the last wide receiver,
Gallup.
The last wide receiver I wanted to throw out was Deshaun Jackson.
Sure. So who's your pick?
Oh man, if I got to go with the 3 of those players.
And you do. Well, you can go with anybody, but you got to make a pick.
I'm gonna take Deshaun Jackson here. Right. My heart wants to take Rashard Matthews, but I think at this point I want to throw a little nitro on to the fire. I think that Deshaun Jackson can bounce back. Fantasy players, it was one bad year for Deshaun Jackson.
Who,
if you watched him, wasn't
still as bad as the numbers.
Was still really, really fast. He could still get behind the coverage.
All right, final bench pick, and I'm going to make this one, and I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking about. I want to pick a player here that has a chance to show me what their role is in week 1 and 2. Here are the players that give me that opportunity. Latavius Murray. He's an option because week 1 I could find out how much they're going to use Dalvin Cook.
Is he the goal line back?
Could be the goal line back. Michael Gallup, Tyler Lockett. Both players. I'm going to know early. What is the role on this team going to be potentially week 1 or 2? Could Gallup become the one? He only has to pass Allen Hurns. Could Tyler Lockett, now that you've lost all the no more Jimmy Graham, no more Paul Richardson, does he have a chance? D.D. Westbrook, another option here because you don't know what the depth chart's going to look like. And then Paul Richardson.
Really?
Yeah.
Sitting on the board as well.
He was in consideration.
Another option.
I'm sitting here waiting for you to name the aforementioned disrespected Devontae Booker, who
Yes.
that is the type
Absolutely.
of guy where week 1, if he's a starter, he's a starter. If he's not,
Right.
great, because you're going to drop like 2
Here's
or 3
why
guys
I'm not
after
going to
week
take
1.
Devontae Booker, and it's going to be a glimpse inside the fantasy player's mind. I'm not going to take him because we didn't take Royce Freeman.
Oh,
So
you want the handcuff?
No, I don't want the double regret.
Oh.
I don't want to take Devontae Booker, have Royce Freeman be the starter, and then I have the guy that isn't the starter. I need to protect my mind, my friends.
I got you. I want to throw out, if you're actually drafting right now, because a mock draft, we're using a tool, we're using Sleeperbot to prepare for our drafts in August. We don't know what the Buffalo situation is. But if you're drafting right now in the 12th round,
Chris Ivory
is not a bad pick to just
Certainly.
It's not bad. I won't make it because
Okay.
I think if something happens there, they're also going to pick up another body, and I just don't think Chris Ivory has much left. I'm actually going to take a look here. You think Latavius?
I think Latavius.
Sure.
I would
You know
always
what?
prefer to go
A
running
running
back heavy
back.
over the wide receivers. There's going to be plenty of – I mean, the fact that we're this deep already,
Yeah,
you're gonna
no,
be able to
that's good logic.
sign wide receivers off of the waivers that are relevant.
There are a number of those wide receivers I named that will be on waivers after this draft.
Exactly.
There's only a couple rounds left. Josh Doxson did go. Cam Meredith, another late-round flyer with a role to establish. I like it. We are wrapping this thing up. We have a defense and a kicker remaining.
And we will bring it up yet again. The final 2 picks should be your kicker and your defense, unless your league allows you to finish the draft without grabbing them. If you can do that, grabbing and stashing 2 more sleeper players like
Devontae
if you
Booker.
could get Devontae Booker right here, just sit him on the back of your bench through the preseason, and all of a sudden he turns into the starter.
Then you drop Latavius Murray, pick up a –
You got an incredible value pick.
Phillip Rivers at quarterback. Melvin Gordon, Devonta Freeman at the starting running back positions with depth of Rex Burkhead, C.J. Anderson, and Latavius Murray. Starting wide receivers, Adam Thielen, Larry Fitzgerald, with Marvin Jones as a flex option, along with Robbie Anderson and Deshaun Jackson.
Love it.
A couple of burners on the bench. And look, Greg Olsen, welcome back. Welcome to the roster. Very happy with this team.
Now, just the quick question, because I know it's going to come up. We don't mind. We do not mind going with the double stuff, the stack of the quarterback and the wide receiver 1 from a team. Do you feel that it is any way suboptimal that we have Phillip Rivers and Melvin Gordon?
Not
Only if it was Cam Newton and C.J. Anderson.
Exactly. When you're talking
PPR.
about one of the 5 or 6 running backs in the league that are up near the league in receptions, then you're absolutely fine because look, last year Todd Gurley had 6 receiving touchdowns.
Right.
You can still have that stack when you're utilizing
Melvin Gordon
that way.
and Phillip Rivers are close friends. This is going to work out. By the way, if you want a mock draft over on Sleeperbot, start your own draft board, invite your friends, do all of that fun stuff, manually set picks, full roster options, download the app. Go to sleeperbot.com or just download the app on iOS or Android. It is a free app. It comes with news alerts. It is a very useful app. We've talked about it for years. There is no secrets thing we're hiding from you. It's just a good app.
Yeah, it's
It's
great.
just a solid app. It's a tool for the tool belt. And hopefully you enjoyed that mock draft. Let us know what you thought about it on Instagram, on Twitter.
I hope you joined me on the live stream a couple days ago. I did a live best ball draft. Draft.com/ballers if you want to get in on it next week. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.